As everybody knows, as Kendrick Lamar was blowing away Drake, he couldn't take it. He blew up, went crazy, and he was at top of the game, the number one rap artist in the world. Like everybody adored him. Lucian Grange was his son, telling the whole world he can get as much money as he wants. Drake can have whatever he wants. Whenever they presented to him, they didn't care. Drake can get whatever loan he wanted. How far and how quick did we come to this situation here? A lot of people assume Drake was in a position like Michael Jackson and he could own his own catalog. He was in for all the magazines. He wanted to be a model and was taught to be a steward, how to speak to the cameras, winning Grammys. He was essentially the guy that other artists wanted to look up to achieve, to try to be or work with, and looked at him as a genuine guy. But the the more the people got to know him, the more of a scumbag that he appeared to become to everyone else. And they didn't like what they saw when they looked under the hood. He wasn't as genuine as people thought. He wasn't as kind. And then Diddy and Kanye, who suffered the wrath of going against the power. Kanye even warned Drake that he had signed his soul to the devil when he signed with Universal and Lucian, that they don't look at you the way you look at them. And you're not a son to them. You're a commodity. You're a product. And that's the way they were treating him. So because he was treated in such a way, he decided to act out in such a way. Oh, yeah, the writing was on the wall. And now that the writing was on the wall, they just had to play it out. So when they did the Like That remix, when Kanye just inserted himself on there, he wanted to be involved. And Universal came and clipped that immediately. So he's basically telling Drake, what you think is a deal that you're going to be able to get out of, you're there for life. So good luck with that. Then Lil Rod came out with his allegations against Lucian, which was insane. And Lucian was able to get himself and UMG away from that frivolous lawsuit immediately. So once that happened, that opened up Pandora's box, because a lot of the stuff that they accused UMG for, and just using their name and adding them to a lawsuit, which they had no grounds to do, Lucian was removed from that immediately. So Diddy, who was Lucian's guy, like they never had no fallouts at all, he went against some other billionaires. And all of these things turned on him to where Lucian couldn't protect Diddy. And he couldn't do anything about it because there were some bigger ups coming for him, and there was nothing he could do. So as much as he loved Sean Combs and Diddy and all of his artists, he could protect them to a certain extent. There was nothing Lucian could do to protect Drake from Kendrick Lamar. And once he got removed from the Diddy lawsuit, because there was nothing there containing or holding him there prior, then you have Drake, a guy who was like a son to him. He didn't choose Kendrick Lamar. The public did. He's a businessman. He's going to support what the people want. Those numbers are going up. And Katt Wiliams said, I saw this. I told Drake. I told them all. They would wipe out a $20 million nigga and make 60 million off of them. Look at the way they knocked off all these other rappers. They would knock you off the very same way. They're not playing by a rule. It's a cabal. It's a conundrum. They want and they run this game, and you, no matter how big in it you become, you can't change nothing. So when you see all these rappers that were dying, violent deaths, like he said, it's always somebody from their city that did it. It's always a hit. And the mama get the check, and they only got to deal with her once a year. They ain't got to deal with your crew, your producers, no homeboys, no managers. It's all done. So when you give the studio that much material, you're basically saying, this is a life insurance policy. When I can no longer generate money, or I'm not packing them in like I used to, you'll make more money off me dead than alive. And that's when it becomes dangerous. Now, when he looks at Drake, he's not saying something's going to happen to Drake right now. But eventually, with all of this, they'll say, well, Drake's mental health hasn't been well these days. And once they start putting that out, then if you hear anything about what happened to Drake, you go, oh, well, his mental health wasn't good these days. And that's what they used to cover it up. Michael Jackson was insured by the Lloyds of London. The Lloyds of London is one of the hardest insurances to get. They run you through strenuous tests to make sure that you can be insured, because they make sure nobody's finna capitalize or cash in on anything concerning them. They have a lot of people who are actors or entertainers who are stuck in this thing. As you see Stefan the Don's brother and his situation and what he went through. And Drake is affiliated with Steph and her brother, and he knows them very well. So a whole bunch of things around him that went south. Kendrick is like the light. He's the one that everybody's gravitated to right now. He can clean up this rap game and make it about the art form. Drake is like took it and made it sleazy. He took everything about it and made it sleazy. Now you have the Ebony Prince came out, right? With all the stuff he was talking about. And he opened up Pandora's box. They have no way of knowing any of the information that you guys were just talking about or providing. No way of knowing. A good talk. So, when she put it all in the box, wrap it up like a bow, and send it out to the public, that's what happened with your boy, Drizzy. Remember, this fool thought it would be a good idea if he was to go up against Universal and put out something called Plot Twist, where he was going to go ahead and release music that he felt like releasing on a private platform that he called Plot Twist on Instagram, and defraud Universal of monies that's earned to them. Once Universal found out what he was doing, dropping 100 gigs of information and things, the likeness rights that they have the rights to. They snatched it, they blocked everything that he put together, and they released it under his own name. He didn't do it. Universal did that to show them, and show him rather, who had the power. It wasn't him. Lucian does. And they don't play games. And just for pulling an attempt such as this, they will reduce his name to cinder whenever you go against the powers that be. Well, they start bringing up all kinds of things on him. To take him down would be easy. That's too easy to do. That's like watching LeBron James out there. Oh man, they don't care about that. See, the world news is more important. Trump gonna do a sit down on Sunday. The world gonna be paying attention to what he's saying there. And all y'all was following all of the motions and everything, the acts of what was going on prior. When Meet the Grams came out. So when you was the MC Rapathon, who all of y'all was attached to, everything was everything. But now it's not everything. You get to see who your real friends are and how it applies to you. Or don't. It's all up to you. But what Katt Wiliams was saying was something that shocked the masses. You start seeing the body transformations and all the weirdo activity with the Ozempics and the pills and all of this stuff, right? You start seeing all these different prescribed medications and all of these different things that's taking place and transpiring. And you start seeing, guys like Academy, who sold his soul to DJ Vlad and Adam 22. So they get a piece of everything he does because he had fallen on hard times. And when you fall on hard times, you run into a situation where people with morals don't want nothing to do with you. And there was no way everybody who was around or surrounded by them would make this inclination about what was going on. Now, when we first saw the Ebony Prince, and he was basically putting it piece by piece by piece, we were following him, not knowing or understanding what was going on. Right. He was threatening to do what he had to do with the lawyers, with Drake and everything else. So it made for a lot of excitement on the internet. It was like breadcrumbs. We were all going crazy over the Ebony Prince. Ebony Prince said this. Shh. Ebony Prince. Ebony Prince finna speak. Shh. So everybody was locked in. The Ebony Prince was speaking. And it was breadcrumb after breadcrumb. So it made Drake look really, really sketchy. Because we wanted to know what was going on. And he said, I can confirm that I was with Drake on the night of January 22nd at this concert with 21 Savage. I was called to meet Drizzy at the Mark Hotel. We had a blast listening to new beats. I'm not in the position to talk about his character outside of our meeting, but I can say I was not violated in any way. Now, we all saw that didn't happen. But it was weird that he chose to lie and said that he hung out and listened to beats. And he was rejected and turned away right away. But he put out a public statement saying that he was not a victim. And we just found that to be very strange, though, that he chose to lie in that situation. So he went back to his life of luxury and cars and being the public eye, the most popular person. Now nobody's looking for him to be hosting any award shows. They're not looking to see pictures of him and his son. And Academy can go on any show he wants. He's not helping you. And you got him working for free. And now all of Kendrick's songs are in the top 10. That just drove him nuts. That just drove Drake all the way up the wall to see that happen. Too much calciums, too much potassium, too much energy. You couldn't deal with it. I would love to see how it plays out. Like everywhere else, would love to see it. Oh yeah, Meet the Grams is what really did him in. I told everybody. I just told my cousin yesterday. He agreed too. From like an MC rapper's brain. That comes like bubbling up. That's the format that really gets you there. Well, just like the RZA said, he's a natural artist. And when you have a natural artist going against an artificial artist, hey, that's what happens. Now, what Katt was saying may play out to be true, but it happened in a different format. Wouldn't happen in the Michael Jackson way. Then he said they would take K-Dot out. No, they won't. He won't allow it. Well, yeah, because he's going to move with his own energy. He's not going to be a product of the industry like this guy became. He made himself a product. And then he started believing it was because of him and not the machine that was around him having anything to do with his success. And once you start playing those games of believing your own hype and you put out a flop album like For All the Dogs and your career is spiraling and going down because your last projects are looking complacent and like lack of effort, lack of energy, lack of trying. And the uncreativity of the project, the blandness of the project came into play, and everything else is pretty much done. It's a done deal at that time. So, well, Katt is right because they normally get rid of artists. Some, if their net worth is something they can make a lot of in their demise, they will. They've done it before. Like I said, the Lords of London insured Michael Jackson. And you know how hard it is to get insured by them. But then what did they sell to the public? He was really frail and sick. He was sick. There's no way he could have finished that tour. Listen to how droggy his voice is. Anybody's voice gonna be droggy when they just wake up from some doggone Orfevol, some dental medicine that put you to sleep. Anybody would. So it's only common sense. Like, look at what's his name, Pop Smoke. Pop Smoke is gone. He still got songs that are performing, and he's still earning money. It goes to his mom gets a check, and then they get a check. He don't get to renegotiate his contract, right? Triple X, he's not here no more. His mom gets a check once a year. They give her a big check, and they keep putting out new songs and albums from him. You don't get to renegotiate terms. He's on a new artist deal. Juice WRLD, he had about 2 number one albums since he's been gone. Two number one albums since he's been gone. Countless songs and hits, right? Where did that leave him? Couldn't enjoy it. But they've been eating way more. That little crumbs that they give mom, it's nothing to how much they're making off of him. And they don't have to renegotiate. No new terms, nothing. This is it. I would like to see somebody try to renegotiate. That would be very interesting. They don't have any concerns. Nobody's knocking on the door saying, can you please come in and do our award shows? They're not going to let people like academics change the narratives. They're not going to let these people come in and move the needle anymore. Oh, you finally finished eating. Good. Mm. It's only a matter of time because it's all illusions everywhere else. The illusion that this guy can ascend back to the top with this party album, like he's going to be back at the top of the game. And the industry will always make you pick and choose. They can't say, when it comes to us, you can enjoy all the artists. Like someone written a rule saying you can't do this. No way you could do that. You got to pick. Says who? So the consensus is that you lost. Okay. Either that's going to make you a better artist when you accept that loss, but he hadn't accepted it. He's spiraling out of control.
To Dutchavelli that easily. Now you'd think with all the drama swirling around, Dutch would be trying to keep a low profile. However, after all that chaos with Kendrick blew up online, Dutch decided to pop up on Instagram and share a video on his stories that had tongues wagging all over the internet. In this video, Dutch seems to be threatening Drake, telling him to give his mixtape a shout out and kindly reminding him that he owes him a little favor.
And then, hey Drake, make sure you promote my mixtape as well when it drops, cuz. You hear me? You know they say love is a favor for a favor, motherfucker.
So with women and dogs. However, it's not just Drake being thrown in the mix. Allegedly, individuals way more powerful than Drake may be complicit in all these depravities happening behind the scenes in the music and entertainment business. And of course, fans are now pointing fingers at the most powerful man in entertainment, Universal Music Group CEO, Lucian Grange, or as Kanye West prefers to call him, Drake's rich baby daddy.
On that note, we gone. Deuces. I think that's it, eh? Why is it ain't saying nothing?